Hi guys, this is Artsy Wisdom. My name's Diane. Thank you for coming by. Today I'm going to try and make this shorter, not always, but the Bears are on today and they're on in the other room. They don't always win. Those of you who are Bears fans or other teams that you grew up with, I have hope. I always have hope every year. There's always tomorrow. Was it Scarlett O'Hara said that tomorrow's another day? There's always time, and it's in my blood no matter where I am. So today I wanted to look at Oppenheimer. Fran, who is a viewer who writes me or emails me quite often, he asked me about Robert Oppenheimer. What would he say about our current state of technology and are we using tech for bad stuff? And asked me if I could pick up on the energy of him. And I looked into him. Thomas Crooks, the Pennsylvania Butler shooter. Somebody asked, Juanita asked me about him. And then Laura asked me if Trump is using Argentina and he's setting it up there, making it happy, nice. So it's a place that he could run to later. We'll look into that. So also Prince Andrew, no longer Prince, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, he will be, and Sarah Ferguson, they were kicked out of Royal Lodge and stripped of their titles. And Prince, I thought that was just because he was born under Queen Elizabeth. I didn't know that was the thing you could take away from somebody, but I guess it hasn't happened since 1919 when there's somebody that sided with the Germans. I'm not sure who that was. Also, he hasn't been convicted of anything, but there's so many things that point to him, especially I photographed him with Virginia Giuffre, who I did a reading about like a year ago. Sad. She's sad. She's a complicated person, and some people have called her a liar and said she's manipulating. She made a lot of money. But I see her as a survivor of sexual abuse. And I feel like her life was here. She was here to teach us something. And I'll talk later, Thomas Crooks, about, finding the good in everything. But I feel like Prince Andrew, and he just lied. He's been caught lying and lying and lying. Also, the book Entitlement from Andrew Lowney, I think his name is. I listened to that Cher Denise, and she's so funny. She's another YouTuber. I love her. She reads books, and she's read this one. And I probably listened to most of it. I'd say 80% of it. But him and Andrew and Sarah are just grifters, and he's basically entitled and just strangely oblivious to, how much money he spends on her, and wasteful. Anyway, I'm not mad about that but I'm not in charge of them. I'm not the boss of them, but I feel like regardless if he hasn't been convicted of the thing with Virginia or all these other women, there's other people who have said, and they've been corroborated, that he did things and he took money and he worked with people from Kyrgyzstan or some scary dudes or governments. So I think it was a wise decision. And I don't know if William did it or King Charles or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I feel like it was the wise decision. And everybody makes mistakes, but it's not one mistake. It's a lifetime of mistakes. And if they want to keep the monarchy in a healthy place, I think it's the right move. Anyway, that's my opinion. I also wanted to mention I was listening to the Daily Beast podcast. I don't know if it was Inside Trump's Head. Joanna Cole is the one who runs that or hosts that, but she had the guy hosted it in her stead, but I don't remember his name. Anyway, he had Steve Hassan, who wrote several books on cults, and The Cult of Trump. Oh my gosh, it was very, very interesting. He talked about how you can talk to your family members, which I found the most practical thing. Family members who are MAGAs. He was a Moonie. He was infiltrated. He was embedded in the Moonies, and he believed everything. And he almost died because he was so tired because they do all these things to you. And it was a really interesting thing. His family finally broke into this head a little bit because he almost died in an accident through sleep deprivation. And he realized that, what's his name, the Mooney guy, was a liar and a thief and a rapist and everything. So it took him a long time. So he's written all these books. He's older, obviously now. It was when he was really young in the 70s. But he explains about how it works and how Trump is doing that to people. And he was up near him in Queens, I guess, a long time ago. And he said it was this attitude that he couldn't know any different. And this is his world. So he'll never change. He's embedded with this idea that I do no wrong. I believe what I say and I believe it. People will believe it. And that's good about manifesting if you're doing it for the right things. Speaking of cults, maybe I'm a cult member of the Bears. Maybe that's it. But spiritually, maybe. Behaviorally, emotionally, yes. Anyway, I'm not sending him money though, so that's good. But he did talk about how when you have holidays, what you can talk to your MAGA people. He's friends and family and how you can handle that. And he said he really is not about being divisive and yelling at him and calling people names and saying you're the enemy. And he said that's what they like to do. Fascists like to do that. They like to split up people, divide people. But he says sometimes you can't talk about it, so maybe decide not to talk about politics or whatever. But when you do, he said, remind them of if they do want to say something, not really fight about it, but just say something. You listen, you repeat it back to them so they understand. You stay patient and calm, and you use other references outside of politics. Where would you accept a pathological liar that was dating your daughter? Would you want her to marry him? You use the references of other situations outside of politics, the behaviors, the stealing, the lying, the criminal behavior. Would you allow that? Or he said sometimes you pull out pictures of the past and you talk about times. And he said, I was in myself. I was there. I was in there. Steve was in there, but I covered it up with the Mooney stuff, he said. And eventually I was able to uncover it. So they're in there, he said. They just forget. So he's like, trying not to be mean, he said, because it's not going to affect any change at all. So it was really interesting. If you guys, it's the Daily Beast. It's on YouTube. And Steve Hassan is the name of the guy. Cult of Trump. Okay. And thank you for the well wishes for me being in Arizona again. And I've got sinus problems. That's what is that big bags, sinus allergies here. And I put in a garden and I did something to myself when I was pushing. So I'm being very babying my chest. I don't know if I mentioned this. I had breast cancer. Like I just had my anniversary. It was 13 years ago. Double mastectomy with reconstruction. But the other day, and everything's fine. No issues. I had chemo and everything in 13. But the other I was lifting and twisting and pushing and something happened. I don't feel like anything's different, but it hurts. So it's getting better, but I'm being very careful about what's happening. Anyway, don't worry about me. Everything is fine. And I was right about, I think the SNAP benefits will be coming. There will be a safety net, something the court ordered them to pay. I don't know if they will. There'll probably be a delay, but I do think that's coming in. And that's what I said before. Oh, Otter Spirit. I've been wearing my Otter Spirit. I haven't mentioned them recently. There's a description. There's a discount in my description box. And I'm wearing Sunstone and Moonstone today. Moonstone is one of my favorite stones to wear. Moonstone is I create miracles every day. And it covers your intuition and crown. And then Sunstone is I take actions every day to achieve my dreams. And it's about confidence. And you guys, these come in these cute little boxes and velvet pouches, and you can look on their website and see if you like anything. And I also do readings. I'm an astrology or intuitive tarot card reader, hypnotherapist, life coach, artist, a lot of things. Anyway, I'm a long beginning ranting. Okay, let's talk about this Oppenheimer. Robert Oppenheimer. I didn't see the movie, and it's good I didn't. I don't like to get too much information about anybody before. I like to kind of look at them clean from a spiritual perspective. It was Fran asked me what do you say about the current state of technology? Because he helped with the Manhattan Project and create the atom bomb. Are we using our tech stuff for bad stuff? I was going to read. He was really into some mystical things, thinking outside of the box. But if he had gone, I think he was nominated 4 times for a Nobel Peace Prize. He was a physicist, went to Harvard. He was called the father of the atomic bomb for his role in overseeing the development. He really he found himself in circles of communism. He was born in like oh 04, yeah, April 22nd. And then he died in 67 from throat cancer due to probably nonstop chain smoking. Harvard, Christ College, Cambridge University, and that's where he got his PhD. His development of the first nuclear weapons, and he got a Medal for Merit in 46 and Enrico Fermi Award in 63. His field were theoretical physics, and he worked at a bunch of institutions in New Mexico, obviously, and University of California, Berkeley. Quantum mechanics, he contributed nuclear physics. The Born Oppenheimer approximation, I guess this was somebody else named Born, Max Born, for molecular wave functions, work on the theory of positrons, quantum electrodynamics, and quantum field theory. And those are more like, really interestingly, because a lot of people spiritually, I know there's a connection there. And the Oppenheimer-Phillips process of nuclear fusion. He also made major contribution in astrophysics, including the theory of cosmic ray showers and the theory of neutron stars and black holes. He only started to do that, I guess. But when I get into Robert's energy, he has already moved on to his next life. He died, what was it, in 67, it said? He has moved on. He went to the other side in his he learned. I feel like he jammed so much into this life when he was here because he was so intelligent. I think he learned more, like he was trying to catch up as a soul. I think he went into this life like running. That's the feeling I get. He stepped on the ground and he just started running. And I feel like he jammed so much in because he was so highly intelligent, so highly creative, kind of like Einstein. Scientists are like this, where they put all the pieces together. Artists are the same way. They're holistic viewers. They see things from a circular fashion, and they can tie things together and make imagine the possibilities. And scientists look for the data and they to confirm it. But he was like that. I think he would have gone on to do even more stuff, but I think he was racing. I think he knew his life wasn't, I mean, he lived to 62 back then. That was like typical. But I feel like he was trying to jam in 3 lives in one. Robert Oppenheimer. I got the Emperor. That's very interesting. I almost wonder if he was a king in a past life. And he already went through the period, or his soul experienced money, power, everything you needed, and you had it, uh, you know, being a leader at the top and telling people what to do. I feel like that was his previous incarnation, or one of them. And this life led his soul to move from that point, and it was more about science, arts, humanity, maybe not as much arts, but art is related to all those things. Let me see. The energy around him. Isn't that funny? The chariot. What did I just say? He is racing. He was racing through this life to hurry up and get through it and make as many discoveries. And I guess I did read. He moved around a lot in the circles of women, just saying. Uh, but it sounds like he wasn't, I got the feeling that he needed challenging all the time. And I think with women, maybe he got tired of him. I don't know if his Venus is in Gemini. Sometimes when your Venus is in Gemini, I wonder if I have his birth chart here. I could look it up. But you need variety, you know. The Hermit, he's got all major arcana so far. The Hermit is the real question. Is this wise person? Hermits are the guide, the ones who shine the light on things. And if you can see, can you imagine this being a nuclear bomb? Very interesting. Um, Hopes and fears, Empress, another major arcana. My goodness. Fear is about the earth. Empress is the earth mother. So there is, I think, I think he wanted to forward humanity. I really do. I believe he did. He, I think later in life, he wanted to manage or put some guardrails on our nuclear programs. That was one of his, I think he went before Congress or Senate or something to talk about that. How we got here, the oppression. So a feeling of, I can't do anything, which is funny because he came into this life. Maybe this is about him feeling like he needed to move things forward. They were really slow. Science was going forward, but this feels like within him, it feels like he had to make changes pretty quick, and he felt like things weren't okay. The feeling I have is that he thought there was so much we could do scientifically or yeah, data and physics and stuff, and it felt like we couldn't get there fast enough. It feels like that's the feeling I got. That's the oppression. Immediate future, the devil. Again, another major arcana. This is a phallic card. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is not the sexuality in it. There's also addiction, obsession, compulsion, being chained to other people, other situations. And he chained himself to this idea or chained himself to, although I think he was more flexible. I feel like at some point he was able to bob and weave and he learned things as he grew because like I said, I felt like there was three lives packed into one. This could be the sexuality part of him that he was always looking to satisfy or some sort of personal um need to, it was an obsession. This is an obsession. I don't know what that would be. Another major arcana. Others see him as behind the veil, like he's a mystery. Um, Even though science isn't a mystery, but it is data driven, right? Maybe it's because he knew so much. Others saw him as figuring things out, figuring out the mystery, figuring out the things that we can't see. Maybe that's it. What we don't know yet is the Princess of Swords, which is the Knight of Swords, which is things moving fast. I don't think this is about us not knowing him, but I do feel like he didn't know what would happen. This is him fighting against all the possible. It went too fast. It got out of his hands, kind of thing. Not that he didn't believe in doing it in Los Alamos and stuff and the testing. It was more um, the possibilities that it could be used for bad things. Action to take and avoid. Strife is, I think it's about fighting. And it's funny. Isn't that interesting? I know this is probably not it, but you know the eagles from the Nazi symbol, the I don't even know what that looks like, but that kind of reminds me of that, the spread eagle thing. Probable outcome virtue. He'll ultimately be seen as somebody who was trying to do the right thing, and he had people on board with him. And the divine blessings here are the Ace of Discs. And the Ace of Discs is okay. The divine blessings in all of us is learning that we learned the power of the atom bomb, and he brought that to us or helped, was part of it. There's also the beginning of the divine thing about technology becoming tangible. Um, it's not just a theory. He made it real. That was the divine blessing. It's the beginning of this scientific or part of the scientific journey that we're still in. What would he think about the technology now? Who am I seeing? I'm seeing somebody with a mustache. I don't think he had a mustache. I feel like I'm seeing like a narrow person. Is it Nikola Tesla? Did Tesla have a mustache? Um, well, he's already moved on. He did his job. He was filled this life with intensity. But Um, what about our technology now? I think he he sees there's too many untethered things, too many things that are not um, monitored, such as he doesn't. It's not about AI, but it's more about um, technology that we're learning. There's so many things happening at once, and nothing is tended. Well, I shouldn't say nothing, but many things, either the government or oversight by safety and different things. He can see how all these different directions could go awry or go into something really bad. I don't feel like right now he feels like anything's gonna be bad, but he does feel like there's a lack of oversight. He also feels like if he was here right now, he'd be in it. He'd be like, "All right, tell me about this. Tell about this. Let's talk about this." He would be flipping out because it would be so cool. Um, he would love it. But there's some sort of protections. He says they're not, and he can see there's nothing in sight that he can because things are moving so fast. Um, Robert, the O's in his name are really important. Why are the O's in his name? Robert, and the O's and the P's. There's a lot of O's. I don't know what that means. Sometimes things get I get images and I go, what does that signify? Binoculars, atoms, cells, maybe atoms. Um, yeah, he would be involved with this tremendously. Are you happy with what you did? You said, yes, I am. I'm not ashamed of it at all. I'm very proud of my work. I was there in a specific time frame where everybody was learning about atoms and physics and fusion and um, I heard the word quarks. He is worried about other countries taking advantage. He feels like there's a lot of nefarious actors out there, namely Russia or even China, that, why did I think Turkey? Turkey came to mind. That could do something bad with all of this knowledge. And he said it's just a matter of time, but humans have to experience pain to understand mistakes, is what he's saying. Um, he's back already. He's come back. I don't know. Are you alive now? Yep. A man somewhere. Like I see a tall building, like he works as a business person kind of thing, somewhere in a city, North America. It doesn't feel like the US though. Maybe Canada? I know I just came from Canada, but it doesn't feel European. It feels North American. Yeah. But that life is more, um, he might even be an accountant, something with numbers, this guy. Princess of Discs. So yeah, money, discs. So he might be playing with money. Somebody who's dealing with money. Because that's part of the larger, if you think about it, the larger dynamic, the holistic dynamic. It's all money. Money is a driver. Power, sex, love diverts some of that, but that's how the world goes around. Besides coffee and wine, those are the things that make everyone go around. Yeah, if you think about it too, power and greed and money, Christ was about infusing love and doing for your leadership had, you know, they wanted to destroy and dominate, and he's like, we need to love each other. Um, and he got annihilated because that is squashed. So that's a constant, right, through all of time, power and greed, and then forcing getting that love in there is really important, and loving your other humans. And isn't that tied to what is now? So Fran asked me, what do you think about our technology? He would be excited. He would be in there. He just worried about the oversight. No oversight. Using tech for bad stuff. Yeah. And are you able to pick up on his energy? Yeah. I think there are countries that are using it dirty, like dirty bombs, dirty, um, uh, what about Trump using it nuclear testing again? He said that's old. That's wasted time and money. He's like, there's so many cleaner ways to have technology, and that's a waste of time. So that was Oppenheimer. I'm sorry, that kind of went long, but he's moved on. And any advice for now? Uh, he said, pay attention, look at the news, look at things that they don't show you. He's like, there's a lot of information out there that isn't in the mass media or legacy media or big media, and everything is obviously very focused, and people just live in their lane and they don't want to know what else is going on. He's like, there's a lot of other things, and he was saying, if you know that, it feels really good. It feels really good to me. I'm saying, when he says that, it feels really good because you'll see all the possibilities, and it's a wonderful thing. There's a beautiful things happening. He's like, but when you're aware of everything, then you can see where the problems are. But we've got our Trumpster in office. What can we even do about him? And he's like, who does he remind you of Hitler? Because some people have said he's got the malignant narcissist tendencies, just like Hitler. He's like, he's saying it's more about the money here, even though Hitler, yes, there are things that it's just my supreme leader. I do what I say, do shut up. And um, but Trump specifically is more stupid. He's not clever. Um, he says he's going to be gone soon. So, um, it's like we're praising at the feet of a clown. He's like, it makes no sense. So he's not Hitler. Hitler wasn't a clown. They have similar direction. They have similar attitudes, mindsets, the way they intimidate and abuse and pervert and use their power and hurt people on purpose. But he's like laughable. And that's the thing. Okay, so now I'm seeing the other side of it, where he's saying people think of him, oh yeah, he's doing that, but the people that even support him, he's not that bad. Yes, they almost see the clown side of him as an act, and that he's doing really important things. So he's not that bad. Like Hitler, you can see is very ugly and dark, but Trump's not like that. He's like, he laughs and he's funny, and he makes fun of people, and he's not that, like that guy. So that gives people a reason, or it quells their anxiety when they do want to have him do bad things, because he's not that bad. He's not that bad. Magus. This is the magician. This is us. He's like, we have all these choices. Look around you. There's all this information, all this technology is everywhere. Every day there's new experiments and he's like, it's going to just blow up. Soon we're going to have so much, not blow up literally, but so much technology is growing faster and faster. So we have to really pay attention. So he said it's good, but we have to just keep an eye on it. And Hierophant, I am telling you guys, the craziest thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 11, 12 cards were higher or major arcana. Meaningful, very meaningful. So thank you, Fran, for that question. All right. Okay, let's look into Thomas Crooks. He was the Butler, Pennsylvania rally, the one who tried to take out Trump last year, and the one who is no longer with us. He ended up taking out somebody behind Trump. I don't think if you ever look at Trump's ear, he would have, with that powerful rifle, he would have had a chunk out of it. If you've seen his ear recently, it's perfectly fine. So whatever it was healed. I think it was something sharp that flew up and um, made him bleed. I don't know where that blood was coming from, but he was fine. I don't think it was shot. He was that close. Anyway, so I get into this kid's energy, Thomas Crooks. He is, it's weird because I think, and this has happened to me before, because I have mentally ill people in my family, and an addiction with addiction sometimes is a catalyst that gets these people, this ball rolling for some people. And I think with him, I, I feel like he was not right. I think he was so smart, like I don't know if he was on the spectrum of autism, but he feels like he was super smart and he was able to live in life without, he was able to manage it, tolerate it, create survival mechanisms. Because what I read was that he was bullied and he won bunches of awards in high school. And after high school, things got bad and he was going down rabbit holes and that kind of stuff on the internet. But it doesn't sound like it was specifically anti-Trump. It was more, when I got into Thomas's energy, it feels more like it was like a blanket political violence world. Like it felt like he needed to make a change. He needed to do something. His focus, yes, was the Republicans at this point, but I think if you had waited a few weeks, it would have gone. I don't feel like he was super democratic or anything or super liberal. I just felt like mentally ill for sure. And mentally ill people, there's obsessions, a compulsion, that kind of stuff. And I feel like it would have changed. Somebody caught him obviously beforehand, but I feel like something else would have happened down the road. It's like that. I feel like it happened to be Trump now or then, and it could have been somebody else later. Now, when I got into his energy, this is going to sound really strange, but I think he's really highly evolved as a soul. And that's a theory I have too, is I think souls that are highly evolved come here with that contract in mind, or choosing in their soul path or their spirit family. They come down and they are learning something. Their karmic pattern or path is in this 3D body, in this highly evolved soul. And maybe the mission or the contract was for him to experience the world, heavy, because the world is heavy for somebody who's light and ethereal, and the energy, just vibrational light. So the energy of the world is very heavy. So when you get that evolved person who's been through many incarnations into this life, I think they choose to either be in a body with a brain that is not right, or as they experience this world, they convert it or pervert it or mutates or something, and their soul comes out in a way that is the only way it knows how. I know that sounds weird. It doesn't make sense, but it's like, I think regardless of which family or life they choose, the evolved soul, you'd think it would be more spiritual and be more loving. It would be like Christ-like or Buddha-like or Dalai Lama, whatever. But for them, I think their specific path is set up for them. This is a soul. He was a soul that came down and needed to experience this trauma, this mindset for some reason, or it was a trigger, literally a trigger, to forward the human race, humanity, something like that. But he did it in a kind of a dirty way. But I think it's a funny thing how it works. We might look at him and say, oh, he's broken, he's messed up, he's mentally ill, whatever. But as a soul, they might go, okay, I need to be the catalyst. I need to take charge and do this kind of thing. But in the form of Thomas, it may not have looked clear cut. It may just look like a mentally ill kid. I know it's hard to explain, but I think that's what happened. Now, because the reason I think that is because when I get into his energy, I feel like he is not having to do much healing. a lot of times when you get souls down here and they have a lot of trauma, they take themselves out, or it's an accident, or like Charlie Kirk. He went through he's still processing. But when sometimes people already have a plan, or it's not a big as a trauma, so they're moving on. Up there, I feel like I know he shot somebody, and he should not be in the heavenly realms, but there is no hell. There is only learning. There is only schools of evolving and beings that help our souls grow and evolve and release negative energies that we've collected on earth, and also learn positively. So, but the thing is I feel like he doesn't even have to do much. I know that sounds weird, but I'm in his energy and I feel like he's already moved past the healing stage, and he's into, it's a resting place. It's not like he's like, what's his name? Not Paul Newman, Gene Hackman. I felt like he needed to go through a long period of adjustment, but he was in, he had dementia and stuff. So there's a variety of things going on with him. But this kid, I don't know. Tell me if you think that's crazy, but that's what I feel like. He is sitting up there and he is so evolved. He's like, yeah, I did this. And it was planned in a way. I know it sounds kind of weird. When I pulled the cards on him, first one I got was a tower. That was his job. I said, well, what was your mission? And then guess what? It's a catalyst, breaking things down, tearing down the tower. And it did give a lot of people sympathy. It really rallied people around Trump last year because they felt like it was the Democrats and everybody's trying to take him out. Then I got Ian in this deck. This is the Thoth deck. This is Judgment, which I take as, going up to heaven and having that judgment, but also determining your own truth. Princess of Wands, she's the card of transformation. It's wands is inspiration, it's activity, and see the flame. And you notice the fire, how it spins down is like traveling from one realm to the other. And this is the Justice card in this deck. It was planned. He was planned. And there's something about it that is a bigger picture. I that's what people say. And I don't know if I always agree with this. They say, oh, there's a purpose to everything, right? This person died in an accident. They're young. What purpose is it? And people find a purpose within it to keep sane. Sometimes things are from the free will of others. Sometimes things are created on the other side as a contract when you're down here. Sometimes things are your karma and you're making choices, your free will, and you choose to make a decision to put yourself in harm's way or to do things to yourself or stuff like that. And other people have to find purpose. And it's but humans are spiritual beings. We're spiritual beings inside of a flesh animal body. And we're trying to make sense of the world. And I think there is purpose in every action that causes us grief. There is purpose, or there's a reason, or there's learning, there's lessons, there's divine wisdom within each of those experiences. Our human self suffers, but on a higher level. Anyway, I'm not saying we have to get divine wisdom through what he did. We can, but I feel like he had a higher purpose. I know it seems weird, guys. All right, that was Thomas Crooks. Thank you guys again for your comments and likes and subscribes. I love that. Thank you very much. Also, I forgot to mention, somebody asked me about a bunker under the East Wing, because I had mentioned that I felt like something was in the ground under that ballroom that they got to redo or rework on. They're asked, I don't know if it was Juanita or Laura, asked about if there was bunker under the East Wing. I don't feel like it. I feel like I think there's going to be some fortification though. I feel like they're going to be Now that I'm looking at it, originally somebody had said, oh, I mean, I felt like the plumbing or the wires, but there's a problem or it's going to take longer. And I think what it is they might, maybe that is a bunker. It's some sort of fortification under there as a place to go. And they're deciding as a place to hide. Because you might as well dig up a hole. It's right next to the White House. You might as well put it in a place when the world comes to an end and you can jump in there and save yourself. It's probably what it is. Not that the world's coming to an end, people. It's not. But it probably is. I think whoever asked me that is probably correct. The bunker doesn't say, I apologize. But yeah, it's going to be something like that. So it's going to take a lot longer. They're fortifying it with, I don't know, 18-inch concrete walls or something like that. Air locks kind of stuff. Anyway, okay. And the Argentina, is he making nice with Argentina? I don't feel like he ever wants to go to Argentina. It's one of those S-hole countries, I think he thinks it is. He's doing it. He's giving them money. He wants to put that guy in office, or Meyer Miller, whatever his name is, uh, because I think he wants to subvert the Chinese goal of having their roots in Argentina and South America. Oh, and by the way, I guess they had their little meeting. Did you guys see Xi's face? He doesn't look well. And I had looked into his energy. He looked like also that Trump smelled. And Xi was like, I don't want to touch you. You stay over there. It felt like that. He looked bad. He didn't want to be there. He was angry. And eventually they came back. There was no agreement. It just went back to the original um, agreement they had before Trump came into office. I think. I could be wrong, but I think. So he's going on saying, oh, we did it. We got it. We're claiming a victory. He didn't do anything. He just likes to make a lot of noise, make a lot of chaos, make a fight so that he can look like he's rescuing somebody or doing something. That's Putin playbook. That's in the Putin playbook. Quickly, somebody thought Putin would be the one that would take him out, or the Russian mob, because he owed them a lot of money. Don't. Please subscribe. If you guys like what you see here, please subscribe, and I appreciate it. It helps with my algorithm. I love that you do that. Pulled some cards on it. Putin is going to be the one that's going to be his final taker downer. I think his health up ultimately, but I pulled cards on Putin. We've got oppression, which is the Ten of Wands, which their relationship, I think, right now isn't great. It's also a heavy thing that Trump has to kind of figure out all the time. He's always trying to figure it out. Then we got abundance. This is like a party, like we're having fun. We got emotional, we're satisfied. This is a cover up for what the real reality is. And then we've got Six of Swords, which is science, which I think this would be a good Oppenheimer card, because Six of Swords, normally it's going from rough waters to calm. I do feel like, and then we got the happiness card, which is the Nine of Cups, and the Two of Swords, which is peace. They're going to come to some agreement. And you know why? Seven of Cups. Look at this card. It's called Debauch in this deck, the Thoth deck. What does this remind you of? Some of you may know about the golden shower. I think this is the blackmail. He still has it. So this relationship is still precarious from Trump's side. He may have paid him back. He may have given their mob lots of money with the interest that he sucked off the American people's teat. But ultimately, he's going to have success with this. He is going to win swiftness, and it's going to be happy. So a win meaning, I think Trump's going to get out of this. He's going to get out of this. He's not going to get, nobody's going to see it because he's going to hide it. And it's like that. Oh, real quickly, nobody asked me this question, but those darn Epstein files. Speaking of Prince Andrew, Mountbatten, Windsor, indolence. It's Eight of Cups. Indolence. Epstein. I've never thought he took his life. I've always thought somebody did it to him. I think they um, somehow relaxed him through some sort of medication, some hidden thing, and made him. They they took care of him. He had too many people in his book. But will the files come out? They will after. I think more likelihood is I think they'll come out after the orange buffoon is out of office. This is Mars and Leo. This is valor. This is fighting a good cause. So this is fighting for truth. That was the other thing that guy said, the cult guy, the cult of Trump. He said, when you're talking to your MAGA friends and family, he says, the truth, you don't need tactics. If it's truthful, it'll come out. Because people saying the Democrats are doing this. He said, well, if that's the truth, it will eventually come out if that's the truth. And if you think this is happening, the truth it usually always comes out in the end. And then there's hidden things. So, Epstein files, virtue, 3 of Wands. This is partnerships that are already made. These are agreements. This is contracts with that guy. Who knows the guy? He's like, we got a deal and it's far away. This 3 of Wands, I feel like this is between countries. There's somebody in other countries, many people in other countries that are going to get in real trouble if those become public. The thing is they will come out, but they'll be redacted to the nth degree. And then we've got the Emperor and the Ace of Discs. I think they're just going to trickle. I think if they do come out, it's just going to be the tiniest little thing. And Trump's going to get the blonde Barbie Bundy to somehow find a, what do you call, loophole that they won't come out or something. They just will. They're just going to keep doing it. Let me pull more cards. Will they come out while Trump is in office? 4 of Cups. This is the moon in Cancer. This is feeling at home and luxurious and safe. I don't think so. I think they're going to pay. People are going to pay too much. I don't feel like they're going to come out in the way that we want them to while he's in office. Yes, after he's gone, many years, I think that'll happen, but it's ridiculous. Yes. All right, you guys, I think that's it. Please subscribe. If you guys like what you see here, please subscribe, and I appreciate it. It helps with my algorithm. I love that you do that. Thank you. I could continue to email me with your questions, and sometimes I always look at everything. If I don't respond right away, or if I don't read on them, I will eventually, probably. I still have some more that I'm going to work on. You know, I do these soul travels. I saw somebody asked me about Natalie Wood, and I've been thinking about looking into her. You remember she died on the boat when she was young. James Dean, those two. I was thinking about looking into those, old school. Oh, and then JD and Erica are item. I know he's not super, his wife is not as exciting as she used to be. And Erica Kirk and JD would be just a lovely couple. Wouldn't they be nice? I think they'd be sick and weird, but you know, whatever. Anyway, all right, you guys, let's stay calm till next time. Take deep breaths. Hope you have a wonderful day. Till next time.